going to start this week with our inspections of our rotary barrels that are in stage 2, 120, 220 silicone carbide grit. And this is our Dalmation Jasper that we cut up on the tile saw. And we have some interesting shapes here. But what we want to do is check the surface for any imperfections that's going to prevent it from taking a good polish. It's drying really quickly here. Now there's a little divot, a fracture divot, but it's not catching any grit. I think we're going to be fine. Just want to make sure. We may have moved it ahead really fast. It probably could have done another week in stage 1, but we decided to move it to stage 2 instead. And now that we're looking at it, I might bust some of these pieces back. It's really hard to see because it's such a wild pattern. You see this? This is what I'm talking about. While I could probably keep moving it forward, I want better results than just good. I want near perfection, and I think some of these pieces I'm going to take backstage because they could use a little bit more time in the grinding and shaping of stage 1. I think I'm just going to do a really good check. So, this one's like near perfect, and it could move on to stage 3. Yeah, I mean, I'm not feeling anything, and visually I don't see any pits or cracks or swelling or bruising or any issues that would make me want to hold it back. I mean, you can see with just chasing that water shine, that surface is really super smooth, and I'm not seeing any issues. Unlike, this one, where I'm seeing issues. See, if you try and chase the shine, you can see the fracture and cracks in there. I mean, I'm being super anal retentive. I think I might have to split this batch or pull a few pieces out at any rate to go back to stage 1. Now it's November and the weather is still holding beautifully. But I don't like to run 6-pound barrels in the winter because they're too heavy for me to clean up outside. And I can do it indoors, it's just messy. Carting those 5-gallon buckets out and everything. This end piece could just be a little smoother. I was in a hurry last week. I did just shove this forward. And now I'm regretting it. So I'm going to go through this whole batch off camera to save time because the videos have gotten like 3 hours long. And once I've done my inspection of the stones, we'll come back and see the status and how much is going to go back to stage 1 and how much is going to move forward. That's a tile saw mark. I don't think that's really going to come out. It might. If I'm running and I'm going to do some in stage 1 again, I might as well do all of them that need it. Oh, that's a good one. I try to keep the stones wet while I'm doing the inspection, so that if there is any pits or problems that has any slurry or grit in stuck somewhere, it doesn't turn to cement. Yeah. It's just the tiniest little thing. All right, I will be right back. Okay, we are back. So all of this, which is quite a bit, is ready to move to 500. We had some chips in the barrel that we deliberately put in there because we wanted little tiny smalls. This was just to use, I hate to use the term barrel filler because there's only like 4 of these little tiny pieces, but I just wanted the little tinies. They were so cute. I just wanted to put them in there. So those are ready to move to 500. While I was doing an inspection, I found this piece that I was just trying to test the strength of it, because it was, it was pretty skinny, I mean, it looked like this, and I didn't like the way that this was shaped. Try to put it back together. I just thought that would cause a problem, so I just kind of bent it and it broke. So that's going back in stage 1 because I want this sharp edge knocked off. There's the little pieces that came off of it. So that's definitely going back into stage 1 to be fixed. After closer inspection and letting these dry a little bit, because I think the water was creating a little bit of visual impairment for me to see it, there is just this little tiny corner right here that is a pit. And I kind of want to see if another week is going to improve that or not. So I'm going to put this one back into stage 1 as well. This one was kind of rough edged. It doesn't have a rough texture. It's just kind of bumpy. And I want to see if that will smooth out in stage 1 or not. I mean, they're like minor imperfections. Like ridiculous. There's nothing wrong with this stone other than the pardon me. Oh, excuse me. Other than the tile saw, when I was cutting this, there's a mark from the tile saw, and I kind of want to see if I put this one more week in stage 1, if that will grind out. So it's kind of like an experiment, because really it's not catching grit. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't think that one section is going to polish all that fabulous compared to the rest of the stone. So why not give it its best opportunity and send it back to stage 1. You can see right here, that's why that's going back. That's 6 pieces going back to stage 1. And then this one is kind of the same thing. It's like it shows up much better dry than it did when it was wet. Little tiny imperfection. I mean, seriously, it could probably just go on to 500, but I don't want to do that. I really want these to be as perfect as possible. And then this whole edge is janky. See, it just has like a little shelf there, and that's just the way that the stone fractures. So I just kind of I want to smooth that as well. This is tile saw imperfections. And I just want it worked out a little bit more. There's like a fracture right here. I wonder if I tap that with a hammer if that'll come off. not a big crack. I don't know if it's going to or not. But I'm going to put it back in stage 1 and see if it opens up more and see if I can see a better way forward with that stone. And then this one, again, it's just this edge could be a little smoother. You can see how it's not. Just want it a little smoother. So that's why those are going back to stage 1. Just our little tiny pile right here. All of this is ready to go to 500, which is stage 3. I'm going to hold it and not run it this week because I want these stones to catch up with it. So these will go in a baggie or somewhere. These are going to sit aside and wait for a week. They're not going to be stored in water. There's no reason for it because the stones are flawless. There's nowhere for grit or slurry to hide. I am not the slightest bit worried about these sitting dry for a week. So these are going to sit on the shelf and just wait. And that is our update for Dalmation Jasper. This is going to get another run in stage 1, and then a wash cycle, an inspection. And then if it's deemed worthy, we'll move it to stage 2. And then when it's done with stage 2, it can join our stuff for stage 3. So this is probably going to take 2 weeks of sitting on the shelf waiting for this stuff to catch up. And that's what happens when you split batches. Okay, we'll be right back. Continuing on with our barrels in stage 2, 120, 220 silicone carbide grit is our Unakite. And it has been 1 week in stage 2. And let's take a look at it. It's just finished with the wash cycle. And let's see if this stuff is ready to move to stage 3. What we're feeling is we're feeling the surface because all the shaping and grinding, getting out flaws, pits, whatever, happened in stage 1. And now from stages 2 through 5, it's just refining the surface and smoothing and making the scratches smaller and smaller to where it's going to has the ultimate chance of taking a really good shine. So we just want to go through. It's such a little piece. Just a little one. Yeah. We just want to go through and make sure that there's been no damage that's happened in the barrel. That no cracking, chipping. Pretty much that's it. That all would happen. We just don't want. We're inspecting for damage. So it goes pretty quick. Anything that does not feel really nice can either be busted back to stage 1 or run another week in stage 2. Those are kind of the things that would happen at this stage. And pretty much most of it's going to go straight on to stage 3. This whole corner I'm not happy with. It's undercutting, and that's because the feldspar is softer than the epidote. The feldspar is the orange and the epidote's the green. It's not catching any grit. You don't see any slurry or grit on there. So the good cleaning, I think it could go on to 500. But, I just don't want it to undercut and damage the rest of the stone, so I'm just going to pull this piece out and put it in the garden. Just because of that little bit of undercutting, I don't want it to damage the stone. And here's another, it looks like it had a crystal come out of it, the pocket. Right here. Looks a little bit of slurry in there. This stone is not ready. It should have stayed in stage 1. No, this one really looks mossy. Isn't that cool? That this really interesting piece. A lot of that, the white you're seeing is quartz or quartzite. Woo, awesome. I'm just pulling out anything that has a crack in it, or any damage. I don't think that this was damage, I just don't think it should have moved forward. Sometimes you just get a bug on your bonnet and you want to move everything forward, so you're not as careful with your inspections as you should be. Patience is our friend in rock tumbling. I don't like the texture of any of this. This whole piece feels grainy. It has a different texture. And you can see like all these little small undercut pits. Almost like it's porous. Pulling it out as well. Now I had run Unakite in the past, completely using a rotary tumbler for all the stages. And I love Unakite so much, I think it's so pretty, that I wanted to do it again. A, for fun, and B, because I have a vibratory unit now, and I wanted to see if a vibratory tumbler in the pre-polish and polish stages made a difference versus rotary. So this is going to be a combination one. Just not 100% on the bottom of that. Not seeing anything. I'm not really feeling anything. It might just be because of the shape it's throwing me. No, there it is. See, it caught my nail. Goes back. It's frustrating to send pieces back. At least I'm grateful it's not the whole darn batch. Wow, that's really pretty. I wonder if I sent this forward because I was just in a hurry. I think I said that already. It's got a crack, like a fracture, and it catches my nail, but there's no grit. And in order to get the depth of that removed, I would lose so much stone. I'm just going to clean it while I move it forward. I just like you to see, the different kinds of issues that you're going to get with your stones, and they change from week to week. Isn't it pretty? But then you can see just that little bit hitting. Wow. Like quite a bit. It's busting back to stage one. Yeah, it's going back. How frustrating. So, do I do like I did with the Dalmation Jasper and put anything ready for 500 on hold until the stuff that's in repair catches up? This is just gorgeous. What a pretty stone. Love that pattern. Absolutely gorgeous. But it's got some damage. It's going back. Sometimes when you run these, the top surface comes off, and then you reveal new problems. And I think that's what happened with that piece. So just, there was fractures under the layer that opened up. just a little bit. I don't know if busting it back to stage 1. And I'm not going to run this in stage 1 for a full week. I'm just going to do an abbreviated run, like maybe 4 days. Because I'm not seeing like super huge damage that would require like full runs. But it's like I could always, run it for 4 days, check the barrel, and then if it's not progressing as much as we want, put it in for a couple more days, or let it continue running rather. So that's what we can do with that. It's drying really fast. Yeah, see that whole surface I think can be worked out. But we're going to find out next week if taking this back to stage 1 just opened this up and made more issues, or if it actually smoothed that and cleaned it. There's a crystal pocket. Crystal pockets are not flaws. So it is your personal preference of whether you want to tumble that out or leave it. I'm going to leave it with a really good clean. Let's see. Oh my gosh, we're almost done with this. That's optical. I would swear that was a hole. It's not. It's optical. Wow. Alrighty. Can't always trust your eyes. I do always trust the feel. A lot of this is ready for a wash cycle and to move on to stage 3. But you have just a few pieces. I'd say about a third of the barrel needs to go back to stage 1. Wow, isn't it cool? Back end of this could use some work. Now, with busting things back, there's such tiny batches, it's nearly impossible to run it by itself. So they have to go in a barrel with like hardness. And when we talk about hardness, we're talking about the Mohs scale, how hard a stone is. And as long as it has the same Mohs hardness, you can put them in, run them in the same barrel. So sometimes things sit for a while, until there's enough other stone. Oh, we chipped that edge. We did. Oh, no, that's just undercutting. But I'm going to put it back. Yeah, so sometimes, you start a project and it might take months to get it out of stage 1, and then you move forward a couple stages, and then you got to take pieces back, and then you have to make decisions on if you're going to continue to move forward or if you're going to put everything on hold until the stuff that you're busting back catches up, and there's a lot to it. It's your personal preference. Smoothing. Don't like that. Okay, Unakite. Is done with the inspection. So, I do not think this needs a second run in stage 2. Stones rarely need a second run in stage 2. I'm going to put these in a baggie because they're in really good shape. I'm going to put them on the hold shelf until these little babies right here catch up. So as you can see, about a third needed to be busted back to stage 1. So we are going to put these aside for 500, and then we're going to rerun these in stage 1. I like to, when I get them to polish, like into the pre-polish and polish stages of aluminum oxide, I try to have as full a batch as I can of the same stone. So that's why I opt to let them hold and sit for a while. I don't think there's anything more to say about that. All right, we'll be right back with our next barrel. And we're back with Sodalite. It has been 1 week in stage 2, which sometimes we call medium. It is our 120-220 silicone carbide grit. And it ran for a week, and we just finished the wash cycle. And now we're going to inspect it and see if anything's ready to move on to stage 3, which is medium. And it has a smoother feel than it did when it came out of 120. Excuse me, when it came out of 60-90, which is stage 1. It has a smoother feel, but not quite that glass-like feel that we want, that we'll get in stage 3, 500. Okay. Sodalite does lose volume easily. It's a softer stone on the Mohs scale, and it has a lot of flaws in it. A lot of fractures, some pitting, and this might be the same situation where I just moved it ahead too soon because I was trying to keep the mass. I mean, these stones are getting pretty small. This condition of this rough is what made my decision to move it forward, flaws and all. As long as it's not catching grit, I was just gonna let it go. You're gonna see when this goes up to aluminum oxide in the vibratory unit, the vibration is going to jam the pre-polish into this crack so tightly that it's going to be a bitch to clean out. We're going to use a toothbrush and an ultrasonic cleaner and do all kinds of things to try and get the grit out of it. But I'm doing it as an experiment. Not necessarily an experiment, but I'm doing it as an example to show what happens when you let something like this leave stage 1. How it, while it looks nice okay now, and in stage 2 it looks okay, once it moves closer to polish and in polish, you're going to see what the problems that it causes, and this is why we spend so much time in stage 1. But sometimes you just need visual examples, and this is going to be it. And then, once we finish polish, we might do another video on what to do when things don't turn out the way you expect. But you need to see it through the stages. You need examples. And that's what the Sodalite is going to be, as an example. So I am just going to move it forward, let it do its thing. We're going to give it a wash cycle. And then we are going to prep the barrel for 500, and we're going to let this run. We've got a lot of things that are going to get moved around this week, and some projects might be put on hold for a little while because we only have so many barrels. I only have the one vibratory unit, but that unit does have 3 barrels, and I have each barrel dedicated to a stage. And going through my shop, I had a lot of mini projects and things waiting to catch up that were like waiting for 500, and then they were like on the bottom of the pile and didn't see it, and then their project went forward without them. So I got a lot of stuff that's going to be doing catching up, and I'm going to have to double check most hardnesses and see how much I can run together. It's going to be interesting. They're going to be a lot of mixed barrels going forward. It's like I try to run them one stone at a time so that you can see just how to tumble it. But the realities are, a lot of times it's not just one stone in a barrel, it's a variety. As long as they're the same Mohs hardness, we're okay. These are just really, really lovely blue. Very pretty. They're not perfect. I'm not seeing anything broken. Nothing got chipped. It's just the natural flaws in the stone were allowed to move forward because we were trying to preserve volume size, or the stone size. Okay, on to a wash cycle. I'm just wondering if I should just do this in an ultrasonic cleaner, or if I should do a dawn bath in the rotary tumbler. The rotary tumbler is going to give an opportunity for more damage to happen to the stones by knocking around a little bit longer and sloshy water. So I think I'm just going to, instead of doing the wash cycle in the rotary, I think I'm just going to put it in the ultrasonic cleaner and wash it that way. I know a lot of people are very concerned about using an ultrasonic cleaner for wash cycles because they're afraid that it's going to shatter the stone, and it very well could. So I always suggest running a test stone, and if it doesn't blow apart the test stone, you're pretty safe to run the rest of them in it. And then I don't use any chemicals in my ultrasonic cleaner. I just use plain tap water. I don't even use borax. I did an experiment, and the borax didn't do anything. It just stayed like in a little shelf of borax. It didn't intermingle with the water. Something about the cavitation in the ultrasonic machine. I don't think, for what we're doing, because we're really not washing them. I mean, they've already had a rinse cycle outside. We've already cleaned the rocks off, and that's why we're doing the inspection. But what we want to do is get into any little nooks and crannies. Anything that a toothbrush can't get into. Little tiny pits, anything that's got like little crystal bugs or anything that you want to preserve or want to clean. That's what the ultrasonic cleaner is going to do. It's going to pull out anything else that's left in the stone. And it turns the water cloudy if there's anything in there. If they're as clean as clean can be and nothing happens, the water stays clear. So it's been pretty interesting watching that for the last few months. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about Sodalite for this week. It's going to get a wash cycle in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then it's going to move to 500 as soon as the barrel's available. Okay, we're back. It's been 20 minutes of an ultrasonic bath. And you see how cloudy that water is? That's because no matter how clean it looked, there was still grit and slurry in the cracks and crevices. So I'm gonna go rinse this out outside because I don't want it in my indoor plumbing. Give it a rinse under tap water. And then I'm gonna set it aside for 500. Okay, be right back.